a big wake up call. And hopefully she takes a little time to talk to people that have been in federal prison to at least start to mentally prepare herself for what this is going to be like.
Yeah.
Maybe not Joe Giudice. I think that's his new business. Maybe not him, but
is that his new
maybe.
business? I didn't even know. Is that his like giving like consulting with people
Consulting.
that are going?
Yes.
Wow.
I saw, gosh, I saw that on social media a while ago and I was like, that's interesting. But there are consultants who help people figure out what this process is going to be like, especially when you're looking at white collar crime. A lot of white collar criminals have not been around the prison and jail system in their life and don't really know what to expect. And I hope that people help her mentally prepare for what she's going through.
I think if you're serious, you go to one of these consultants, but there are a lot of people out there that are just going to go to Juicy Joe instead.
I'm sure they will. But you know what? Maybe that's the best place. I want them to film that. If Joe and Jen Shah do a sit down on like life in lockup, I would watch it because I'm a trash person with this. I would absolutely watch it. But who's going to know what it's like to be a reality star that has to go behind bars other than Joe and Teresa?
Well, listen, she loves headlines. So, I mean, if she even contact whatever it is, I don't care if it's a 5-minute Zoom, this will go viral for Juicy and for, I mean, he should actually reach out to her for this business and just do it pro bono because because I didn't even know this was his new business. I'm a trash person too. Where are the cameras down in the Bahamas? Let's give him his own damn reality show about like rehabilitating, like, his life and, talking to people that are about to go into prison. That's a show that I would watch.
I absolutely want to know what advice he has to give because he was not just in federal prison, but was also in an ICE detention facility, which are not the same as federal prison.
No.
Federal prison was a lot more structured, organized, and safe than the detention facilities. So he's been through quite a lot as well. And when you're looking at financial crimes, I mean, yes, the victims of Jen Shah absolutely have to rebuild. She scammed a lot of people. So when we're talking about what she's facing, it's because she's the reality TV star and her life is going to be upended, but she upended quite a lot of lives as we're looking at it. And this is kind of the retribution for here's a taste of kind of the upending that you caused. And that'll be interesting to see play out.
And you think you can't predict for sure, but you think we're not talking like 3 years. Like you think it's really in the 10-year range.
I mean, I would be surprised if there was, I think that 7 to 10 is kind of where we're at. Could it be 5? Maybe, but that's what some of the other defendants have gotten. And this is again, based on what the other defendants have been sentenced to and what the government has said about her level of responsibility. There should be a tiered system where it's like, look, the people who are most responsible for this, the ringleaders of this, get more time. They caused the most damage. And it's been said that Jen is the one bringing people in. They're not going to be defrauded if she's not bringing them in. So is the court going to take that seriously? Yes. Is it going to be anywhere close to the maximum sentence? No. It's still federal white collar crime, and federal sentences for that tend to be lower than other types of crime.
And even if it is 5 years, I mean, the world still changes a lot.
And your kids grow a lot. Like 5 years out of your life is still 5 years out of your life. So
why, or do you think, is there any part, did you think, I think a little, like the world to me doesn't seem as harsh, the Bravo world on Jen, the fans, the trolls, whatever you want to call them. There's people that are repulsed by her. It doesn't seem as intense as the hatred and vitriol to Erika Jayne. When Jen has done the thing.
Jen's done the thing and pled guilty. It doesn't seem, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand it. But no, Jen is the first house. Other than, Luann and other more minor kind of levels of run-ins with the law, Jen was federally indicted for 2 very serious financial crimes, pled guilty to it, is facing prison time, and people just aren't as riled up about it. I wonder if it's because she's been on the show a shorter amount of time. I wonder if it's because on social media, she really said, I'm innocent and I'll prove it. I just don't know why the difference. I don't know if it's how they handled themselves. I don't know if it's because people feel more betrayed by Erika because they were really rooting for her and she's been in the cast much longer. it's very strange to see the differences between the two.
I think so too. And like, I get it, like Erika's social media behavior. I don't think Jen's is much better. I mean, she posts party pictures. Every other thing is Gucci. She's selling
There's
those.
definitely the money. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's selling the t-shirts. I mean, like when she was selling them, it's kind of like, like, I don't know, her behavior isn't so much better than Erika's. You can't even say, well, Erika's behavior since she found out about this is repulsive. Jen's ain't so great either. I mean, personally, I give her points for a dark blue suit. I don't know. That Gucci bag, I would have left that at home, honey. That's just
All
me.
of it. Leave all the bags at home.
Yeah.
And that's a very fair point. That Jen's hasn't been great either. But it also, I don't know, is there a dynamic where when the government's prosecuting somebody that people are like, you know what? F the government. They're just coming down on everybody. With Erika, you see the faces of the victims of Tom Girardi in things like The Housewife and The Hustler. Like you can put people to it, people who were very substantially injured that went to him. I just wonder if that's part of the dynamic too, is that people can identify with the victims of Tom more readily than the people defrauded by Jen Shah, because they're still kind of faceless and nameless. But in The Housewife and The Hustler, they brought out, Joe Rue Gomez. People got to know his story and see what happened to him with Tom Girardi. And I think that, I think that also brings a face to it where people can connect to the victims in a different way than they can in Jen Shah's case.
Although we saw like one or two in the Shah Shocker.
Those weren't her victims, though. Those were victims of other fraud crimes because she was still pending trial.
I didn't even realize that, I don't think. Oh, interesting. Maybe that's it. It doesn't. I'm glad you agree. It makes no sense to me. Why does everyone hate Erika and Jen? It seems like the hatred is not there. And she actually did this and admitted it. Whereas we don't know what Erika knew or didn't know. Like we really don't.
It's not the same. And that has to be frustrating to watch. But it's just, I don't know if it's because the franchise is newer and Jen does not have quite the public profile that Erika does. I really don't know. It is confusing to me.
How bad is it? Like Kelly Dodd said this when she was on my show, her point is like, listen, I think Kelly Dodd was let go for a lot of reasons. We don't even need to get into all those. And that's not even a slight against her. I mean, we could talk about that all day. Does Heather Dubrow coming back have anything to do with it? She thinks it's a lot.
Because I could see Heather being like, I will not be associated with this. I could see her having her
100
being like, she's a liability.
And Heather has said on this podcast that absolutely she did not say that. I am not a producer. I do not have that. But fine, we get it. But I mean, they wanted Heather back at that time, period, the end.
We all wanted to see the house. I wanted Heather back too. I know you get to have the best conversations. I'm like, the fact that I get to sit here and chat with you, you get to chat with everybody. I feel special to get to have a chat with you after you've talked to everybody.
I mean, listen, I judge people based on how they are here, and Heather Dubrow 2 for 2 has been nothing. Yes, there's a microphone and a camera and all that, and I get it, and people know how to turn it on, but I don't know. We're lawyers, Emily, and we can read through all that BS. And I'm sorry, Heather was great to me twice, so I'm just gonna go.
Why are you saying I'm sorry?